fans of Forest, how do Arsenal react to that? Before we get into the 3 o'clock kickoffs, I thought it's time to talk about the new Premier League rules. Okay, we seem to, see this every single year. There's new rules, there's updates to the new rules that are only a year old. Where does it stop? And again, the beautiful game that we know and love is changing all the time. So it's important to keep abreast of the new changes, okay? And one of them, for example, is the timekeeping, right? As we mentioned, we're probably going to have a lot of 100-minute games this season. Premier League matches will align this season with the latest IFAB guidance on timekeeping. This means timers in stadium will now be left running until the completion of each half, including additional time in both the first and second half. And again, as we know, match events including goals and celebrations, substitutions, injuries and treatment time, penalties and red cards will all be added on at the end of the first and second half. And this was, of course, added to the Community Shield last week as well. On the denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, there will be a slight change where if a player commits a foul in their own penalty area which denies an opponent an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, a DOGSO, in brackets, that's what it stands for, and leads to a penalty, the referee will now issue a yellow card, not only for when the offence was an attempt to play the ball, but also if it's a challenge for the ball. This gives the referee more scope to interpret such fouls as yellow card offences. Chance for Arsenal.
Oh, Martinelli.
But a red card will be shown in all other circumstances such as holding, pulling, pushing, and there was no possibility to play the ball. So, for example, the Cucurella and Romero incident last season, where Romero's grabbed Cucurella's hair, that would now be a red card.
No, they had
rightly so. Should have been a red card last season.
But the new rule change would suggest that will be happening.
Was that not a red last season?
I was going to say that was a red last season.
Just like a mistake by the officials.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it wasn't anything to do with the rules. I just thought the VAR was just
specifically said pulling, holding as well. We've seen a bit of that last season, so we'll see how these rules are interpreted.
I'm sorry, but if a referee needs to be told that pulling a player's hair is a red card offence, I reckon these refs probably don't have much initiative, do they?
On the offside ruling as well, the IFAB and FIFA have also clarified the guidelines for determining a deliberate play by a defender in regards to offsides. A deliberate play is when a player has control of the ball and with possibility of A, passing the ball to a teammate, gaining possession or clearing the ball. If a player is considered to be in control of the pass and attempt to gain possession or clearance, this would be a deliberate play and the attacker in an offside position should not be penalised for offside. And an inaccurate or unsuccessful action does not change that the defender deliberately played the ball. What do you make of all this madness, boys?
I was going to say, could you give me that last bit in layman terms?
It's very wordy, isn't it?
What I mean? Yeah,
we might need to.
And that's what they try and do with these rules. Yeah. They try and, give it all the wordsmith.
This is the Premier League website, so they have to adhere to the official.
The thing is,
lexicon.
if we don't understand it, are the refs going to understand it? That's the problem.
That's the key question.
Their job.
Yeah,
they better.
Every year they don't. Every year they don't. Yeah, every year they don't get it.
In terms of the rules, to be fair, I don't think there's anything that's too outlandish. I think a lot of them we've all kind of known football's kind of headed that way. Oh my God, Saka with a naughty heel there.
Gorgeous play.
I've also got another one to add to it, Fuad. Unsporting behaviour. Players can now avoid receiving a card for unsporting behaviour if the referee is certain that they made a deliberate attempt to win the ball in a tackle. There's also changes to goalkeeper conduct. We know as well that the managers and the assistant managers now have to be separated. They both can't stand in the technical area at the same time. Jason Tyndall absolutely gutted with that one. They've cited the big dog over there. We've still got him in the studio. This is about as close as he's going to get to the action this season.
The second best JT in England.
There you go. And also, of course, the ruling now that means that you can't over-celebrate, and they've, not maybe over-celebrate, but they've certainly cited Arteta, if you believe Gary Neville in the overlap, as a reasoning to maybe up the scrutiny on this. What do you make of that as an Arsenal fan?
It's obviously ridiculous.
Some of them, and they're just trying to make football a little bit robotic, I feel like, trying to take the emotion out of it a little bit. I'm not annoyed with the stoppage time one, to be fair. I think that one we saw throughout the World Cup, it provided extra drama. It gives a level of excitement. And I think everybody is making the assumption that, the bigger teams will benefit just because they've got better quality. But I think we saw in the World Cup as an example, high leverage moments, players just the lights get light. I mean, sorry, the lights get bright.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
I think it's more about for the bigger clubs, they've got bigger squads.
I get that,
Yeah.
but then they've also got a lot to lose. You go for too much forward, and now all of a sudden, Nottingham Forest equalised 2-2 in the 99th minute.
Yeah.
It's not so bad. So for me, I think the fans win, the fans in the stadium win, which, you know, everybody gets a bit extra time. I think the only ones really losing out are the players. They'll obviously have that little bit extra exhaustion and be complaining, hey man, why are we playing these extra 10 minutes? It's not good for my legs. But as the fans, as pundits of the game, listen, we love it. I can't complain about that. But some of the other ones, I'm a bit like, come on, let's not completely take the emotion out of the game in terms of
I agree.
players over celebrating, in terms of having multiple people on the touchline. I mean, some of the best memories are when Fergie and is it Jason Kidd doing like on the touchline. It's like, I don't want the game to become too sanitized, shall I say. Like, listen, some things do definitely need touching on, but I think that's to the referees'
Discretion.
Great
Yeah.
word.
No, I
And
agree.
I guess the point I'd have on
I
the
agree,
celebrating rules, what I find strange is if they're adding the injury time and timing how long a celebration takes, why are they now also being strict on excessive celebrations? I would get it if they weren't adding the time on, but it seems funny to both add the
It's got to
full
work
amount of
against you.
time.
If you want to spend 5 minutes celebrating, that's 5 minutes your opponent could score against you. So
There you go. There's also a change to the goalkeeper conduct during penalties. They will no longer be able to engage in mind games during penalty shootouts. They must not behave in a way that unfairly distracts the kicker and fails to show respect for the game of the opponent.
Come on, what are we
This-
doing here?
let me just
What are
give you
we
the
doing
options
here?
here. This includes actions such as delaying the taking of a kick
Kai
or
Havertz.
touching the goalpost.
I think it might have
Havertz
been
is
a
in.
handball.
Great tackle
Nah,
though.
that was a great touch though with the chest. I can't
Love
lie,
that.
to get that into his path.
Aurier, the former Tottenham
Listen.
defender, does well. It's a round of applause, does he? From
why does
Arsenal?
Havertz not run? He refuses to run. He's so
No,
fast.
that's the quickest he can run.
He's
I know,
quick.
Nick.
He's
No,
quick.
that-
He's
no,
way
no,
quicker
that's
than
the
that.
quickest he can run,
No,
bro, I'm
he's
telling
way
you.
quicker than
That's
that.
Bro, are you
Welcome-
seeing the man who are chasing him?
That's handball as well. by
Welcome
the
to
way.
my world the last 3 years,
Big
Nick.
handball. This includes actions such as delaying the kick or touching the goalpost, crossbar, or the net, and this has come into play since Emi Martinez, as he was known for his antics at the World Cup, potentially being the first to fall foul of the new regulations.
I'm sorry, but look, penalties are as difficult and as easy as you make them, in my opinion. I think the goalkeepers are always at like a disadvantage in terms of a penalty. It's a free shot from 12 yards out. Do you know what I mean?
Every professional
I think we've
footballer
already
should be
done the thing
scoring.
of you can't come off your line, and I was like, you're kind of closing out the angle, because I think if you look back at a lot of the great penalty shootouts, you'll see keepers jumping up 2 or 3 seconds. Jersey do that?
Jersey do that.
Huh?
Yeah.
They should be allowed in their
Bruce
6-yard
Grobbelaar?
box.
Yeah. At the halfway line,
Them moments
Jersey
wouldn't have
4
existed.
yards off his line.
This is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Them moments wouldn't have existed.
I
And I
agree.
just feel like when we start doing this too much sanitization, you're literally almost rewriting
left
football.
with, yeah.
What are you left with? It's like,
Yeah.
all right, goalkeepers on the line, not talking. This ain't a game of FIFA, lads.
But
It's
like-
humans.
but
We're football.
genuinely-
We need emotion. Emi Martinez, when he does that wind-up stuff, I love it. There was
course you would.
another Argentinian goalkeeper in the Mexican league, I think, the other day. He was doing miming.
I saw that.
And I was like, yo, this is brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
I was like, but it just
One
gives
guy in
the
the
game
MLS pulled
character.
this thing out of his mouth as a manager,
Yeah.
and then saved
I
the
saw
pen.
that. Did you see that? He
Bro,
pulled it
what
out
is
of his
that
mouth.
pen? It just
The thing is as well, what's
I love it.
going to distract everyone is different. So the bar thing, you can sometimes the keeper can be at a disadvantage because
They
they're so
push the bar up,
focused.
don't they?
They're so focused on their antics and not necessarily on making a save.
Yeah.
And then some keepers, they're going to clap their gloves together. They're going to sight themselves up, and that can work in a
They
striker's
can give
favour.
the ball to the striker,
Yeah,
don't they?
all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
All that
all that
stuff.
kind of stuff.
But I guess my
7
point would
minutes
be-
added on at the Emirates, by the way.
I apologise. My point here would be as well, why are attackers allowed to play mind games, do stuttering run-ups, put the goalkeepers off?
Yeah.
The goalkeepers aren't allowed to do a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It says a lot that you
does
have a
seem very
goalkeeper who can skip. Goalkeepers were trying to even it out by playing with the crossbar or scuffing up the spot But now, attackers aren't being banned from doing stuttering run-ups or from...
And that's the annoyance. It's like the attackers, the stutter run-ups, the little jump that they do. None of that is being stopped.
they
But it's
never
like the
punish that.
goalkeepers. And listen, I'm all for, make it as easy as possible. But like, come on, let's not spoon feed it.
Like, are they wanting pens to basically be guaranteed goals? And I'm not saying
That's
to be
what it
stupid,
seems like.
But it does feel like everything's being taken away from the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if anyone watched... I was watching today the Australia-France Women's World Cup, and the best part of the game was a 0-0 draw, went to penalties, was Mackenzie Arnold, the Australian goalkeeper, was hyping everyone up. coming, making saves. She even called back one off her line, still won the shootout. But if you're going to stop goalkeepers from having any personality and any kind of style,
I always say, football is in danger of doing so much to give the benefit of the doubt to the attackers all the time and penalising. I always feel like defenders and goalkeepers and every single rule, it always seems like it's the benefit of the attacker. It's the benefit for the entertainment of the game. And I'm like, let's not lose the essence of the game where we're just trying to make this like NBA where it's like a free scoring. Hey, let's just... Like, not every 5-4 game is great.
A hat-trick should really mean something, not just like we see hat-tricks every week.
Like, there's some great 1-0s you see. There's some great 2-1. Like, the scoreline doesn't always dictate a great game for me. If that makes sense.
Same for me with regards to the level of competition. So, like, okay, we know that teams are going to celebrate like crazy. Looking at Arteta, say, when we come top 4 or whatever, we know teams are going to celebrate like crazy when they win the Premier League, win the Champions League, whatever. But so much of football, we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. So if Forest get a 2-2 here and they go and celebrate like crazy, we don't know what that means for
them,
players' contracts, or for them, or who. We don't know everything that's happening, so we don't know the nature behind what that celebration might mean for them.
There's a lot to be unpacked with the new rules. Michael Antonio, that is on his podcast, said, if we are losing 5-0 and you add 10 minutes, I ain't playing, I'll punch up the ref.
Hey, yo.
It's a bit cruel.
Big man, chill.
Careful.